Well, let's get straight to our top story tonight. The centre is standing by its decision to extend reservations for minorities. The Law and Minority Affairs Minister Salman Khurshid said today that the government will challenge the order of the Andhra Pradesh High Court, which struck down its 4.5% sub-quota for minorities in government jobs and educational institutions. The order has sparked off another debate about whether these quotas are justified or whether it's all about politics.
A day after the Andhra Pradesh High Court struck down the centre's 4.5% sub-quota for minorities within the 27% OBC quota, the Law and Minority Affairs Minister defended the government's decision and made it clear the legal battle was not over yet.
Minorities are both religious and linguistic. The expression of the word minority is linguistic as well as religion. And it's a term that's used in the Constitution.
It was an issue that had in fact got Salman Khurshid himself into trouble with the Election Commission since it was announced last December, just ahead of the polls in Uttar Pradesh. Now coming down heavily on the centre, the Andhra Pradesh High Court said yesterday the very use of the words belonging to the minorities or for minorities indicates that the sub-quota has been carved out on religious lines and not any other intelligible basis. We must express our anguish at the rather casual manner in which the entire issue has been taken up. The government insists this isn't about quota politics but a step to help backward minorities. While the Constitution of India does not allow reservations based on religion, some states have created a sub-quota for Muslims by including them in the 27% OBC quota. Andhra Pradesh provides 4% reservations to socially and economically backward Muslims in government jobs and educational institutions. This has been challenged in court and the matter is pending with the Supreme Court. Similar reservations carved out for Muslims from the OBC quota in Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu.
High Court का निर्णय आया है. मैं जिस प्रकार से इसको मानता हूं कि ये काम कार्यपालिका को करना चाहिए, न्यायपालिका का काम नहीं है.
क्रीमी लेयर को हटा देना चाहिए. तो इकोनॉमिक बेसिस के ऊपर आरक्षण फिर भी संवैधानिक है.
Meanwhile, many Muslim leaders say they feel let down as the government didn't do enough to push the quota through.
या तो सही तरीके से केस प्लीड नहीं हुआ अदालत में, या जो रिजर्वेशन हुआ उसमें कहीं लीगल लैकुना छोड़ दिया गया.
Affirmative action to help the backward classes or cynical politics of identity. Opinions on the minority quota are sharply divided. And with the government determined to challenge this verdict in the Supreme Court, clearly the last has not been heard on this highly contentious and polarizing issue. With Anand Zanane in Lucknow, in New Delhi, Neha Khanna for NDTV.
So is the Andhra Pradesh High Court order a blow to reservation politics? Do tell us what you think. Well, I spoke to the Law and Minority Affairs Minister, Mr. Salman Khurshid, a little while earlier. Mr. Khurshid, thank you for joining us on Left, Right and Centre tonight. Now, you've said today that you will go to the Supreme Court against the Andhra Pradesh High Court order. In fact, yesterday you also said that the High Court has not addressed certain issues on this issue of reservations properly. Can you explain what those are?
Well, I will not go into details of what we would produce before the Supreme Court because we still have to work on the draft of the SLP. But broadly speaking, as far as the Indra Sani's case was concerned, it was very clearly said that sub-quotas are permissible. Now, sub-quotas come from an existing quota and from an existing list. As far as the Backward Classes Commission is concerned, their job is to decide whether somebody should be included in the list. Their job is not to decide what share they must get in the list. And this is something that we considered very, very thoughtfully and for quite some time, and then came to the conclusion that in view of all the Supreme Court judgments, we don't really need to go back to the Backward Classes Commission, and indeed Backward Classes Commission does not have a mandate to go beyond inclusion of any class or category of people into the list. And that's how we then decided that 4.5% to those who are already in the list and already notified as backwards are the people who are entitled to their proportional share in terms of their population.
Mr. Khurshid, the court though has come down very heavily on the centre. It said that there's no intelligible basis for these reservations, which it says is along religious lines, that the centre has handled this entire thing casually with no data to back this up. You're a seasoned lawyer yourself, you're the law minister of this country. How do you respond to that?
Nothing. This is standard language that courts use, and I can only thank them for pointing us in the right direction. And then, you know, that the Supreme Court is supposed to be there to look at any flaws or any shortcomings of a judgment given by the High Court. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the Supreme Court. So, if we've not been able to explain to the High Court appropriately, we will then try to explain to the Supreme Court, and it will go to the constitutional bench hopefully, and we will know from the Supreme Court what we've done is right or not right. And if there are shortcomings, and that's found to be finally so by the Supreme Court, we will put those shortcomings right. But it doesn't mean that the courts have said that you can't do this at all. You can be absolutely certain that's not what the courts have said.
Do you have the NDTV Profit app? All the markets, all the news and your own homemade, ready-made portfolio available there for you.
We will right now answer what you should sell, what you should buy when markets are down.
Download at ndtvprofit.com/apps. Get the best app from the channel you trust.